1940, President Roosevelt signed into law the Selective Service Act, which included a provision that prohibited the intermingling of colored and whites. This refusal by the president to integrate the armed forces angered the African Americans, causing riots concerning the Selective Service Act, as well as the Jim Crow laws, to rise. On October 9, 1940, the crisis carried the headline, "White House Blesses Jim Crow." One young man scheduled to be drafted into the Army declared, "Just carve on my tombstone, here lies a black man fighting a yellow man for the protection of a white man." An interesting poem from this time was, "Dear Lord, today I go to war, to fight, to die, tell me what for? Dear Lord, I'll fight, I do not fear Germans or Japs. My fears are here, America." The Army's color lines symbolized white domination in America. As said by Malcolm Little, later renaming himself Malcolm X, "Whitey owns everything." Malcolm X was an extremist who wanted to escape the draft by moving down south, and while he was down there, organized them nigger soldiers, steal us some guns, and kill up crackers. Winford W. Lin chose the more calm course of action by simply stating he would not serve in the war until it was unsegregated. Women were also offered roles in the armed forces. One woman said, "When I saw all the advertisement about schooling and the other benefits, and the travel which would probably be involved, I thought, this is what I want." But wearing the Army uniforms did not always mean equal rights as citizens. The New Deal offered little relief to African Americans, so you can understand the Negro worker had a good reason to feel betrayed under the New Deal. Branches of the NAACP began to organize protest against discrimination in major cities. The constant protesting led to President Roosevelt signing the Executive Order 8802, which declared that there shall be no discrimination in the employment of workers in defense industries or government because of race, creed, color, or national origin, and it is the duty of employers and of labor organizations to provide full and equitable participation of all workers in defense industries, without discrimination because of race, creed, color, or national origins. Almost 1 million African Americans entered the industrial labor force during the war years. Population of blacks in the South went down because they were traveling to big cities up north for work. Employment opportunities were dizzying for African American women. Even though they still had to fight for their spot on the workforce, the military demand for soldiers created labor shortages and opened industrial jobs to women, including black women. Between 1940 and 1944, the percentage of black women in industry increased from 6.5 to 18, and the percentage of black women employed in housework decreased from 60 to 45. By 1943, Detroit was a racial tinderbox. In early June, Walter White, a member of the NAACP, declared a rally at Cadillac Square, and on June 20th, all hell broke loose. 60,000 blacks and 40,000 whites retreated from heat to a park in the middle of the Detroit River, and a scuffle broke out between white and black men. The fight lasted 3 days and losses totaled $2 million in property damage. Many people were injured, and 34 killed, 9 whites and 25 blacks. The blame, of course, was put on the blacks, but if you look at photo evidence, the blame should be directed towards the whites. World War II brought along a lot of change for African Americans. More jobs were made available to them, but ultimately it started a civil rights movement which eventually led to true equality later on.